Hey guys, so today what we're going to do is we're just going to go over some of more of these coding back questions to give you guys some more practice, and I'll be walking you guys through how to do the questions as usual. And so I also want to get your guys' opinion of coding back too, right? So if you guys happen to do any work over the past week other than in the lesson, I'd love to know your input of it, and if you think the questions are too easy, let me know if you'd like to do something harder, or if you think that some of the questions that we do are a bit hard, let me know if you want some easier questions, okay? And let's pop this out. Are you guys doing well today? Alright, anyways, let's get started. So, actually no, it's only 4:56. I'll give everyone 4 more minutes and then we'll officially start at 5 p.m. Right, yeah, so if you guys have any questions or have been working on some things on your own and want some input from me, feel free to contact me in the chat or through my email. Four 58, two more minutes. Yeah, 2 more minutes. Okay, while we're here though, before we actually start, how about we do some warm-up questions? Some medium ones, okay? Try this one, double X. So, given a string, return true if the first instance of X in the string is immediately followed by another X. Alright, so that means that there has to be an X after an X. Okay, so we'll say that, okay, so for int I is equal to 0, while I is smaller than string.length. With this loop, we're going to loop through all of the indexes of the string to see if it, first of all, if it's an X. To see if like the X has an X behind it or an X in front of it, first of all. Because if there's an X behind that X, then we know not to count that X. And if we find an X in front of that X, then we know that those two X's are part of a pair. Basically finding pairs of X's. Okay, so if string dot substring, we will now input I plus 1. I'll actually turn this into I minus 1, and I dot equals. And so this dot equals method is basically checking if the character that we substring is equivalent to x. So if it's equal to, then we'll say, okay, then we don't have to worry about it. So we'll say if it's not equal. Okay, so if it's not equal to the x behind it, then we have to look for an x in front of it. So that will lead us to the next part. So if string.substring oh, hold on, sorry, I'm gonna behead myself. First we have to check if the character is an x. So if string.substring I plus 1 dot equals x. Well, we have to first see if it's an x first, and afterwards we will check if it has an x behind it. So in that case, we'll check if string.substring I minus 1 and I equals x. Well, then we won't do anything. So we'll say that in that case, we'll say if the substring of I minus 1 to I dot equals x false. So this basically dot. So if it doesn't equal x, then we will look ahead and see if the one in front of it is equal to x. Does everyone understand that logic? Okay, so we'll look at the x ahead of it now. So we'll say string.substring I plus 1 I plus 2 dot equals x. We'll say, well, then it will be true. So we'll say that if it's not equal to, we'll say return false. Else we'll say return true. Okay, so first of all, let's go over it before we run it first, just to see if we have any noticeable errors. Okay, so in order to do this question correctly, we have to return if the first instance of x in the string is immediately followed by another x. Okay, so let's see here. We have a loop to loop through all elements or all the indexes within the string. And so we go in our first if statement, we're going to look at the first character and say that if it equals x, okay, look at if it equals x, and if it does equal x, so if the character behind it does not equal x, then we will say and look in front of it. So first we look behind it, then we look in front of it. The reason why we look behind it first of all is to see if it's the first instance. Okay, if it's not the first instance, then we don't have to really pay attention to that x. But if it is, we have to pay attention to see the character in front of it. And then we will say if string.substring I plus 1 I plus 2 dot equals x, we'll say return false. which is true. So if it's not equal, notice how we have this exclamation mark that says not equals. Okay. Alright, so let's try it out. Oh, we have an issue online for 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. Yeah, we need another. And 4. Oh, it's probably with this. So if add this. Okay. And so we do the same thing here again. Okay, so it ran correct for some of them, but not correct for a lot of them. So let's take a look first. Oh, it's because we did so for okay, because it doesn't actually look at so let's try this. It has to do with our loop. The actual logic of it is still correct, I believe. Yes. Okay, so then we'll also have to have an additional if statement. Just to check like the first and last characters of the string. For instance, if you're in the first character, you can't really check the character behind it because there is no character behind the first character. You can only check in front of it, right? So that's one logical error that we made. And also another one is here, right? We can check the character behind this X, but if it's the last character, we cannot check the one in front of it. So if that's the case, we'll have to make certain exceptions for the first and last character. So let's do the first character first. We'll say if string dot substring, and we'll say 0 and 1 dot equals. So we'll say if it dot equals x, and then we'll also have another one. Then if string dot substring, oh, sorry, we should have two of these because we wanna do this. So if string dot substring 1 to 2 dot equals x, then we'll say return false. Because remember, if we omit this exclamation mark statement, it's going to see if this substring is equal to x. But when we add it, it's going to see that if it's not equal to x. So basically doing the opposite. Okay, so now we're going to in this line we check to see if the first character is equal to x. If so, then we will check the one in front of it to see if it equals x. If not, then we return false. Now we have to do the same for the last character. We'll say if string.substring, and then we'll say string.length minus 1 and string.length dot equals. If that equals x, then we will check the character behind it. Okay? Then we'll check and to see if string.substring, going to take a look at the character behind it, string.length minus 1 and string.length minus 2 dot equals, oh, hold on, dot equals x. So let's see if this matches up. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So we got this extra one. Okay. Dot equals, so if it's not equal to x, then we'll say return false. Let's try now. Line 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there. Int cannot be dereferenced line 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If string.substring string.length minus 1 to string.length. Oh, there. Missing. So where is this first of all? Is this occurring? Okay, so it's right now. Okay, so it appears that we're getting some index errors. Okay. So index. Okay. Okay, guys. Oh, what problem is this, Bobby? Alright, yeah, so let me just show you very quickly. This is CodeMbat, what is it? Warm-up double X. So go to CodeMbat, and then afterwards you get on CodeMbat. I want you to click on Java, and after that click on warm-up number 2, and then click double X, and we're going to be doing that question. And then Spectrum also question, how do you learn all this code? Yeah, so I'm just using like very simple methods. So I think, do you guys know what the substring method is? If not, then I think I'll go over it with you guys one more time. So basically, string.substring method is basically allows you to take like a chunk of a particular string. So let's say we create a string called word, and then assign it the value of this. We assign it the value of hello world. But say we only want to have hello, right? Well, we can say that word is equal to word dot substring, and then transform this word from hello world into just hello by just taking the specific substring that we want. So we want a substring from all the way from 0 to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want a substring all the way from 0 to 5. And then we'll be able to print out hello. Oh, sorry, I forgot to specify. Let's say we create a new one called sub. Now, in this case, we would be able to print out sub. Which would be hello. It's taking a while though, so. But yeah, if you guys need any refreshers, just tell me, okay? So as you can see, it printed out hello, and we were able to do so by taking a portion of this actual string by using the substring method. Anyways, let's show the solution for this one. So, okay, so this one, let's look through this code. So first we declare an I and string.index of x. So, so it's basically checking to see if the index of x is equal to -1. So basically just seeing if there's no x's. And we're going to see if there's also a character at x plus 1, which is also equal to x. Okay? And if smaller than equal to string.length, return false, right? Okay. And then we're going to return string.substring I plus 1, I plus 2 dot equals x. Basically what this line is going to do is that if it does equal x, then it will return true because the statement is true. But if the statement is false, then it will return false. Okay. Alright, so that one I very much overcomplicated it quite a bit. So let's move on to another warm-up question. String bit. So given a string, return a new string that made of every other character starting with the first. So hello, it's hello. Alright, well for this, let's create a string called result and assign it this, make it empty. So we'll say for int I is equal to 0, while I is smaller than string.length, we will then proceed to increment by 2 every single time instead of 1. And so now we will say result is equal to result plus string dot substring I plus 1. After this we return result. And as you can see, we got them all correct. So let's go through our code one more time. So we start with our string called result emptied, and then we create a loop. But instead of going through every single letter here, we go to every second letter. So we start at I, which is 0, then we proceed to add 2 to it and go to that index. So 1, 2. Then we go to L, then we go to this another one. So 1, 2, then we go to O. See, and that's how it works. Right? If I just said I is plus equal to 1, then it would give me the entire string, which is not what we want. We want every other character. And that's how we're going to have the string, okay? So if you have any questions, please let me know, alright? So that's how we did that one. Let's work on another warm-up question. So, given a non-empty string like code, return a string like old code. So let's first of all, so we have the word code, then we will have the word cod, we have the word co, then we have c. So basically, we want to start with the first letter and then slowly add another letter on each time. Okay? So in this case, we'll have to use some loops. As always, we're going to create our string result. And we're going to return result. So now let's see. So for int I is equal to 0, while I is smaller than string.length I plus plus, and then within this loop we'll also create this. Oh yeah, so we'll do this, and so we'll say, okay, we'll say result is equal to result plus string dot substring, and then we'll substring from 0 to I. Afterwards, we'll return our result. Okay. Okay, so we're missing some characters. So C, COC, COCD. Okay, smaller than or equal to. Yeah, and then we get it all correct. Because when it's smaller than string.length, string.length is, so if we take the word code, for example, and take the length of it, the length would be 3, right? However, right, able to get the E, we don't need to be able to do it 3 times. We get C, CO, and COD. But as you can see, now it works. So this loop, we're basically going through and then incrementing 1 every time. And every single time we increase I by 1, we're basically adding from 0, we're substringing the value from 0 to I and adding it. And what I'll do is I'll actually show you guys, so then it's a lot easier to visualize. So, say we have the word code. On our first iteration, what we would have is 0 and 1. Afterwards, we would have 0 and 2. And then afterwards, we'd have everything from 0 to 3. And then right after that, oh wait, sorry, I forgot 0 to 0, okay? So in our loop would basically tell us to, okay, add all of these values from the string together, all the characters from 0 to 0, from 0 to 1, from 0 to 2, and from 0 to 3. And in this case, 0 to 0 would be C, 0 to 1 would be C, 0 to 1 would be C, 0 to 2 would be CO, 0 to 3 would be COD, and then we would have 0 to 4, and that would give us CODE as our final string, which is basically the entire word. And what controls us from not getting an out of bounds error is this loop, which ensures that we never go over this string.length. Okay, does everyone understand? If you have questions, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll try to explain it to you one-on-one after the class, okay? But alright, let's move on to the next question. So, given the string, return the count of the number of times that a substring length 2 appears in the string, and also as the last 2 characters as a string. Okay. Okay, yeah, so we're basically taking a look. Wait a moment, I don't really understand this question. So, given a string, return the count of the number of times that a substring length 2 appears in the string, and also as the last 2 characters of a string. Alright, so we're going to look at the last 2 characters and see if those 2 characters appear. See how many times they appear. Okay, so hi, we have here hi, yield 1. We don't count the end of the substring. And so for instance, we're going to look at the final 2 characters. So the final 2 characters of this string is hi. That's basically telling us that we need to look for hi. Okay? And so we look for it. Once we find it, we do not count the last one, because the last one is just telling us what we need to find. Same for this one. Even though XX appears twice, we only count it once because XX at the very end does not count. That's just telling us what we need to find. So we'll first define an int called count, and this will basically store the amount of times it appears. Okay, and afterwards we'll use a loop, and as usual we will loop through until the string.length minus 2, because we don't want to count these last two, this last one right here. Or we could. Another way you could do it is to not do minus 2, but just make it so that count equals a minus 1. You just subtract 1 at the end. So we'd say count equals count minus 1. Okay, and so now let's try to look for those characters. So we'll first define a string, and that string will be called word, and that will be equal to string.substring. We'll say string.length minus 2, and then string to string.length, and that will be the one to look for. Now we'll say if string.substring I and I plus 2 equals, we'll say if this equals to the word we're looking for, then we'll add 1 to our counter. So counter will plus plus, and plus plus basically just means add 1. And at the end we'll remove 1, obviously because, well, first of all, we would automatically count the last two a part of it, which we cannot. We will return count. Okay. Line 4. Substring word, substring. Key to string, not substring. String. Yeah, this should work. Or unless it's because. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at this one that matches up. Oh, these parentheses need to be touching. My goodness. That matches up. That matches up. String word is equal to string.substring, okay? And we're substring in length minus 2, or it should be this and minus 2. 1. Oh, I was looking at the wrong one. My goodness. Okay, sorry guys. I forgot to add I plus plus. And it looks like we've experienced this out of bounds exception. Okay. So let's go back and see our issue. So now it's out of being around range -3. Okay. Oh, this needs to be -2. Get rid of this line, and it should be almost correct. Okay. Alright, so then we'll just add another if statement to say if the string that we're given is smaller than, yeah, if it's smaller than 2, then we just automatically return 0. So if string.length is smaller than 2, return 0. And we got them all correct. Oh, okay, so I'm not done. Okay, sorry, Bobby. I'll go back to the question. I'm sorry. Yeah, I will go back to the question. We were doing this on string bits. Yeah. And copy and paste the code into also the chat for you too. So that one is for the string bits question, and the string explosion question. This is the string explosion question. I'll give you this. Sorry about that, Bobby. Yeah. So if anyone else needs some extra time to work on these last two questions, or if you're ready, let me know, okay? Yeah. Oh, correct. Yeah, so just copy and paste it in there. Yeah, this one was not too. There's probably a lot faster way to write this, or a shorter way to write this, but I was just I guess whatever works as long as it completes the question, right, guys? Right. So now we've done a couple warm-up questions. Let's go back and revisit arrays, one of the data structures that we learned in the past 2 months, and try doing a question on that. So, given an array of ints, return true if 6 appears as either the first or last element in the array. The length will be 1 or more. Right. So, in order to do that, we have to look at the first index and the last index. So, let's first of all have an if statement, because we're going to return true if 6 appears as either the first or last element in the array. So we're going to have our if statement, and we're going to use these brackets to find the index. If you guys recall that in an array, or actually no, I'll do it like this. If you recall, in an array we have indexes which correspond to the different values in memory. For instance, this is weird. Okay. Yeah, well, I just did that. I didn't realize that's cool. So let's say we have the values 12, 22, 31, 4, and 6 in our array. If we wanted to access 12, which is the first element in the array, what we would do is that we would use this. We would type in the name of the array. So let's assume that the name of the array is nums, right? We would then use these square brackets, and within these square brackets, write down the index of that number. So because it's the first element, we will write down 0, because the first element doesn't start at index 1. It starts at index 0, and then it goes to 1. So basically, in that case, if we wanted to go to index 1, we would actually be going to the second array, okay? But say we wanted to go to the last element in the array. Well, what we could do is that we could count the index of the last one. So we'd go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we could say that nums 4 is equal to 6. However, in this case and in this question, we do not actually know the length of the array. The length could be any length. It could be from 1 to infinity. It could be any length, right? So we don't actually know. So we can't actually put in an exact integer value. But instead, what we can do is we can use this dot length method, which automatically returns to us the final index of the array. And so we would say nums dot length and then a square bracket. And so just like that, we're able to go all the way from the first array to the last index in the array just by using this simple method here called using the nums.length or the dot length, right? Depending on what the array is called, you would put the array name right here, not nums. So say if the array was called numbers, you would put numbers.length. Okay, so now let's incorporate this into the question. So we look at the first index, index 0, and see if that is equal to 6. And so, or if nums 0 equal to 6, so if the first element in nums is equal to 6, or the last element, if the last element in nums is equal to 6, then we return true. If not, then we return false. Oh, out of bounds exception. Line 2. Nums of length minus 1. Okay, yeah, sorry. So nums of length would actually give us, instead of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, it would actually give us 5. It returns to us the number of values inside the array, right? However, if we recall, our index is not actually equal to the number. The final index is not equal to the number of elements. It's equal to the number of elements minus 1 because we actually start at 0, not 1. But as you can see, now we get the correct answer. Okay, and so I'll leave this for you guys to copy down, and at 5:40, we'll start on another question. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know, alright? This is quite straightforward as we already learned it already. It's pretty cloudy outside today for me. Weather is not that great, but it's alright, we'll deal with it. Yeah, very bleak outside. Alright. So if you're done this question, let me know by typing done in the chat. However, if you're not done, please tell me by typing not done in the chat, okay? Or well, actually instead, I'll just create a poll really quickly. Are you done the question? And just so I let you guys know, I can't actually see your guys' input, right? So it's confidential. Okay. Oh, so let's see. 2 votes. So one person has not done this question. So I'll just leave it up here for now, okay? When you are done, tell me when you're done, okay? Okay, so 2 people out of 3 are done. Alright. Okay, I'm going to. Alright, so looks like most people are done. So if you do have any questions, I'll open up a Google Meet after the class to work with you personally. But in the meantime, we'll go to the next question. So given an array of ints, return true if the array is length 1 or more and the first element and last element are equal. So let's again have a simple if statement and say if nums.length is larger than or equal to 1 and nums 0 and nums.length minus 1. Return true. And if not, we'll return false. Okay, here we go. So in this if statement, we're using the .length function, or method, sorry, not function, method, to see if the nums has more than 2 elements in it, or 2 values in it. Then afterwards, we're checking to see if the value at the first index, the 0th index, which is the first one of nums, is equal to the last one in nums. And if it is, we will return true. And if the if the conditions for this if statement are not made, so if they're false, then we will go here and we will automatically return false if it's not true. So 6 votes, 2 people out of 6 were not done that. So what I'll do is I'll copy and paste into the chat. Copy. Paste. Yeah, so yeah. Because it's taken a while and we don't have so much time left, I want to get through as many questions as I can with you guys, okay? Okay. It seems these array questions are quite easy, so let's move on to a bit of a harder one. So let's use logic number 2. Let's make bricks. So we want to make a row of bricks that is goal inches long. We have a number of small bricks, which are 1 inch each, and big bricks, which are 5 inches each. So return true if it is possible to make the goal by choosing from the given bricks. This is a little harder than it looks and can be done without any loops. So if we have 3 small bricks and 1 big brick, and our goal is 8, then it's true. And if we got 3 small bricks and 1 big brick, that's 3 plus 5. Do we make it to the goal? We do not make it to the goal, unfortunately. And if we have 3 bricks, 3 small bricks, 2 big bricks, will we meet the goal of 10? We will meet the goal because that is 3 plus 2 times 5, which is 13, and that's larger than 10. So we'll say if small plus big times 2, these brackets here, is larger than or equal to goal, we will return true. If not, we will return false. Oh, sorry. It's times 5. Okay, we still have one issue. So 2 big bricks. Big bricks is 5. Oh, okay, yeah, alright. So, it's not if it's bigger, it's that we have to get the exact amount. So we have to basically see if it's possible to, or so we have to check. So the reason why this is true here is because we can take one big brick and then three small bricks and then get 8, right? That gives us 8 inches. However, for this one, the reason why it's false is because you technically it's impossible for you to get 9, a length of 9 inches, because if you try using 2 big bricks, that will give you 10 inches, which is not 9 inches. If you use 3 small bricks and instead only use 1 big brick, you get 8 inches, which again is not 9 inches. So what we can do right here is we can use a for loop. So let's say for, basically loop through all the possible, or actually no, there's a way for you to do this without loops. Okay, there's a way for you to do it. Let me think really quickly. And while I'm thinking, you guys also take the time to think and try to do this question. So 5 and 8. Okay. So, oh, okay, I got it. So I think I got the answer. I'll give you guys some time to work on this, okay? There is a way to do it without loops. There's a way to do it without loops, yes. So I think I'll give everyone 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So until 5:55, we'll come back and do this together, okay? If you guys have finished it, I will actually create another poll. So end this poll, and I'll make another one. Did you guys find a solution for the make bricks question? So if you guys are not done this question, did not find a solution, I'll give everyone 4 more minutes. No, okay, so how many people have answered this? One person has answered. Okay, so since you have not found a solution, I'll give everyone until 3 more minutes, okay? Now, this question seems more complex than it actually is. And what's most important is the small bricks, okay? You have to have enough small bricks to get to your value, to get to your answer. Okay, 3 votes. So since most people are not done it, I'm going to ask you guys another question. Would you guys like me to show you the answer? Okay, so if no one tells me otherwise, I will show you my answer at 5:55, okay? Or I'll just show you guys my answer right now. Okay, so well, first of all, we have to make sure to see if we even have enough bricks. So what we'll first do is we'll first have an if statement and say we're going to check if we have enough bricks to make it to our goal. So recall that the big brick is 5 inches and the small brick is just 1 inch. So we're going to see if it's larger than or equal to goal, right? And if it's is, well, if it's not actually, sorry, yeah. If goal is, if it's smaller than, yeah. If goal is larger, then we'll say return false. And then afterwards we have to check if we have enough small bricks. Because keep in mind, we can have as many big bricks as we want, right? Our goal could be 1 inch and we could have 500 big bricks, right? They're all worth 5. That's 2,500 inches, right? But we only need 1 inch and we cannot get 1 inch because we do not have any small bricks. So what we will do is we will check to see if we're able to divide the goal by, if the goal, the remainder of the goal divided by result is smaller than or equal to small, okay? So we will return this. Because if we have more small bricks, then we're able to do it. But if we do not have enough small bricks, right, then that's not possible, right? So let's say, for instance, 9. 9 divided by 5, the remainder is 4, right? But we do not have enough bricks. We have 3 small bricks, which is unable to get the 4. Because remember, what's most important is our small bricks, and basically if we're able to make up for that remainder with our small bricks, okay? Does that kind of make sense to you guys? Let me know if it makes sense for you, okay? Right? So let's divide it by 5 because that's how much the big bricks are worth. And then we'll see if the value of gold, the remainder of gold, after we use all of our big bricks, is smaller than or equal to small. Okay, and we'll return that value. All correct. Okay. So I guess for our final one, we will do a logic question. We'll do teen sum. So given two ints, a and b, return their sum. However, teen values in the range 13 to 19 inclusive are extra lucky. So if either value is a teen, just return 19. Okay. So if they add up together and they're not, return their sum. So return their sum, okay? And if we have a value, if one of these values is 13, between 13 or 19, we will just return 19, okay? And what I'll do right now is I'll do the question because we don't have that much time left. So we'll have an if statement. So if A is smaller than 19 and B, okay, so first of all, we'll say if A is equal to, if A is larger than or equal to 13 and A is smaller than or equal to 19, or the same applies for B. Then we will return 19. 19. However, if that's not the case, then we will return A plus B. As you can see, they're all correct. Right. So I think I'm want to go a bit overtime today, and I'll give everyone until 6:03 or 6:04 around that time to do this last question. Okay. In the meantime, I'll get some water. Okay, guys, I'll be right back. Okay. So, one more minute or two, and if you're done the question, type it in the chat. I'll create a new poll. Yeah, if you're done it, that's good. If you're not done, okay, so alright, so one person is not done. I'll give everyone 2 more minutes then. Yeah, and also if you guys want to keep up to date with like future youth computing events, make sure to fill out your information in this form so I'll be able to send you an email. I mean, you don't even have to like put your name or anything. If you want, you can just send me an email telling me that you'd like to be notified for future events, okay? Because around sometime, well, no, yeah, around sometime later this summer, and in the fall, we're going to be having some hackathons going on and some other tutorial work. And we'll have other teachers who will be teaching us too. And we'll also have some really cool, we're also going to have some really cool speakers and some really cool guests with us. In fact, I think, was it in April or was it in March? We had Donna Strickland as one of our guests, who was won the Nobel Prize for her research in physics. She currently teaches at University of Waterloo, and yeah. So if you guys would like to have like participate in those kind of events, right, where we have these kinds of guests and more hands-on kind of workshops, and some more coding workshops you want to participate in from us, then please fill out the Google form so that way we can contact you about it. Yeah, it was a good interview we had with Donald Strickland. All right, it's 6:03, so I think I'll just answer the question for you guys right now, okay? So, our cell phone rings. We should return true if you should answer. Normally you answer, except in the morning. You only answer if your mom is calling. In all cases, if you are asleep, you do not answer. So, okay, so let's say if it is morning, if is morning equals true, then we'll go into another if statement. If is mom, if it is mom, then we will answer it. Return true. Else return false. Okay. Okay, so this should run false. Except in the morning, you only need to... Okay, so if we are sleeping, first of all, we check if we're sleeping. So, if we're asleep, then we do not answer. If is asleep equals true, we will return false. Okay. See if it's morning. So if we are asleep, if we're not asleep and it's morning, and if it's not, well, okay. So if it is not morning, then we will return true. And we got it all correct, as you can see here. Yeah, so right now it's 6:06. I'm going to end the lesson here for today. I want to thank you guys all for coming. I had a lot of fun with you guys today doing all these questions, and I think it's absolutely great that we're able to do this practice together. With code, I want to remind you guys that coding is very It's something that's you improve by practice, right? Because I've already taught you guys most of the things you need to know in order, well, yeah, everything you need to know in order to like complete all of these questions on code and bat, right? And so now it's up to you guys to exercise your knowledge of and use those functions, methods, and theory that I told you to actually use it in a problem. Because when you problem solve, you learn a lot better hands-on in comparison if you're just learning through watching a video. Because when you're watching a video, you are taking in information. But how useful is that information if you're not applying it to a problem? So I want to leave you guys with that to think about. Alright? And I'll see you guys next week on the 25th. Alright? Alright, bye guys. Thank you guys. Okay. If you have any questions, can you type in the chat and I can create a Google Meet. But if you don't have any questions, end the class, alright? Seems like no more questions. Alright. Alright, yes. Thanks, Extrum. Thank you for coming. Alright, in that case, I will see you guys all next week, the 25th, alright? Bye.